when she wrote the novel. But we have to also look in the context in which she did write the novel. In her time, in her era, saying N was common. Saying the N-word was common. That was common vernacular. It was how you express somebody of black hue. That's how you talked about them. That's how you felt. That's what you felt about them. When I read it, I tried to read it through the lens of the author instead of my own emotions, so I could see what some people are trying to describe as a compassionate writing, that she was being more compassionate than she was being trying to hurt the feelings of African Americans. I tried to read it.
Is it a more difficult read for you now, Margaret?
It's a very difficult read. Seeing that not only that we're trying to legitimize, because this is what I feel now, that even through this panel, that we're trying to legitimize why this particular book or play needs to be on the shelves and in theater for people to see. We're trying to legitimize that it's going to bring healing. There is no way that this novel will bring healing. It's part of the conversation, yes. I applaud the conversation. It is an overdue conversation. However, it does not bring healing, not only to African Americans. I teach students with disabilities. So it brings no healing for really understanding the plight of Beau Bradley. It brings no healing in really understanding the context of this lawyer. Well, he was put upon to represent the man. Yes, I got that. Beautiful. However, it does not really give me a sense of hope that when my young African-American, other children of color, when my Caucasian students read this book, that they're going to run outside and say, you know what, I need to be nice to everybody. That's not what I'm sensing. If it happens, I applaud, would be the first one to eat the worms, but I don't see it.
Thank you, Mark. Is there very well said? I tell you, I got a bunch of preachers and some educators here. Whenever this guy said no one was looking for junk, I know one. Get out of here. No. Is there anyone with a counter discussion? I thought I might get one. And maybe you will continue.
I would like to agree with her that this, in my opinion or knowledge, is a first. An open discussion of racial issues that I can remember not like that. I think we're probably close to the same age. I think Harper Lee holds up a mirror to society. I usually take my glasses off when I look in the mirror because my eyesight is poor. But we don't like what we see when we hold up a mirror. It bothers us. And that's the job of literature at times, to bother us. But it doesn't change the truth to take the mirror away. She was trying to reflect a racist society. Tom Robinson is a hero in this novel.
We will continue. Melissa.
I just wanted to agree with Margaret. This book isn't going to bring healing. It's a book. Not only that, but it was never intended to bring healing. It was intended to show what was real and what was true. And I feel in an attempt to show what was wrong with society. In this day and age, we're dealing with this issue 50 years after this book was written. It's not time to take it off the shelves and say it never happened. It's time to take it out and say this happened and it can happen again. And it can happen in any society, with any group of people. If we were in Arizona right now, this wouldn't be a black-white race relations forum. It would be a white-Hispanic race relations forum. If it were in the Slavic region, it would be Serbs, Bosnians, and Croats. If it were in the Middle East, it would be Shiite and Sunni Muslims. And if it were in an African country such as Rwanda, it would be Tutsis and Hutus and a tribal issue. Race is bigger than just the American South. This is where we start. This is where we look at this book. And this is where we say, let this not happen here anymore.
Thank you. And I also quick to note, Reverend Coleman, Reverend Keene, Reverend Lee, and Reverend Scott and I have had this discussion, and it seems as though there's a you know, the healing is going to begin with those on the panel, those in the audience, and from this discussion, not from the book. Beth, the question is to you. Feel like Alex for that? When Atticus takes the job of being Tom Robinson's lawyer, defending him against a charge of rape by a white woman, Mayella Newell, Atticus knows he is defeated before he begins. His daughter Scout asks him why has he taken the case, and Atticus says, simply because we're lit 100 years before we got started, there's no reason for us not to try to win. However, the American judicial system tells us that justice is blind, promises a fair and impartial jury of our peers. In his closing remarks to the jury, Atticus says, there's one human institution that makes the pauper the equal of the Rockefeller, the stupid man the equal of the Einstein, the ignorant man the equal of any college president. That institution, gentlemen, is a court. And in our courts, all men are created equal. Unfortunately, that was not true in, the statement was not true in Latham society then. However much Atticus had wanted it to be, what does it say about our society today?
I'll defer.
Fair enough. Does anybody else would like to address the question? Reverend King, thank you so much. And Reverend Scott, you're next.
I would like to address it. Also, I would like to tie in something that she said earlier. This novel, for instance, To Kill a Mockingbird, it used the terms N-word, Negro, color, black velvet. Then it goes on to even say boy. And if you read the book, when the young lady, I'm maybe getting ahead, when she said that she was raped, the book tells you that she just, when he went by, she called him the N-word. That's how she addressed him. She didn't address him as if he was a person. And when we talk about the court system, even today the court system is skewed based on economics. You can afford the best attorney, and we deal with it all the time. Person with no money to afford an attorney, they cannot win the cases in court. And then you come to court, the judges are not African American in most cases. If they are African American, they are afraid to lose that position because that's that economic survival. So this book was taken in the context of a time that this was the norm. This was the norm, and if you read, and it's the norm. She was talking about a black man. She'd been kissed by an older man, but here is a black man. And he said, well, you know, for him to have a relationship with was a crime that was a break against the law. Period. Because he was a N-word. You had a relationship where he was afraid to push her back because the law said don't touch her. He couldn't even touch her. So the court has always been skewed on a racial in America.
And social economic, as you refer to also. Reverend Scott, you see.
Briefly, you see, one of the problems that we have here in America is accepting and facing reality. The problem here also in our judicial system is that there have been two ways to deal with issues. One is when you were dealing with the black, they were punished by the law. But when it came to the white, they were punished by discretion. And that means that you don't get the same for the same. And that hasn't changed since the Reconstruction time. And we can sit here and tell, I get beard like Moses. But we're going to have to face reality. And we're going to have to come together, as we have vowed to do because we're here together tonight, and face reality that all of us have a right by the Constitution to have full freedom, not just substitution of freedom. And we